Alright, so today I'm going to show you how to replace the blades on a bad boy zero-turn mower. This is the ZT Elite series, and it has a 60-inch deck. As you can see on the right hand side, the blade is bent, and we're going to go ahead and replace the entire set. Here's the new set of blades we're putting on. There's a pack of 3, and I'll put a link in the description below to where you can buy one of these. So here's the tools you're going to need. We're going to be using a breaker bar. This is a 1/2 inch drive breaker bar, a 15/16 socket, a 3/8 ratchet with a reducer if necessary, a 3/4 socket, a 4-pound mallet, and a block of wood. I also use some wheel ramps to lift the whole mower up so that way it's easier to get up underneath it, but you could always use jack stands as well. So go ahead and pull up the mower onto the ramps, then chock the wheels in the back. Also make sure the brake is on. So we're going to start on the left hand side of the mower and remove the first blade. I also recommend using some liquid wrench or WD-40 to get the bolt off because these are going to be pretty tight. Make sure to place the block of wood in between the blade and part of the deck so that way the blade won't turn while you're turning the breaker bar. Connect the 15/16 socket to your breaker bar, then place it on the center bolt. I didn't have to use any liquid wrench on this blade because it wasn't too terribly tight, but it still required a ton of force to get it off. Some of these bolts you might have to use the mallet and hit the breaker bar in order to get it off. This usually isn't recommended, but since this is a cheap breaker bar, I'm not really worried about it. An impact wrench is ideal, but most people don't have an impact wrench laying around, and also I don't have an air compressor that's powerful enough to run an impact wrench at the moment. Once the bolt is loose, then you can turn it by hand and take the blade off. Now we're going to install the new blade. Make sure that the lip is facing upward and the blade side is facing down. Otherwise, the mower will not cut properly. Now I'm going to tighten this bolt with the breaker bar, but I'm not going to tighten it too far because you don't want it to be too difficult to take off next time you replace the blade. I'm also holding one side of the blade so that way I have some leverage when tightening the bolt. You can also put a pair of vise grips on the pulley on the top, and that will also help as well. Now we just need to repeat this process 2 more times, so I'm going to go ahead and do the center one. This blade is a bit tricky to get off because you have to put your breaker bar in the center of the deck, and I was able to push on the deck with my foot while pulling on the breaker bar, and eventually I got it off. After beating on the breaker bar for a while and pulling as hard as I could, I wasn't able to get the bolt off, so I sprayed some liquid wrench on it and then it came loose after a few pulls. Again, make sure the lip on the ends of the blade are facing upward and the flat edge of the blade is facing downward. And finally, we're going to replace the third blade, same as the other 2. At this point, you can remove the wheel chocks and make sure the wheels in the front are straight, that way the mower does not tip over. Slowly back it off the ramps and crank it up and give it a test run. If there's no weird vibrations, then you've done it properly. Also go back underneath and check and make sure nothing is loose. Hopefully this video helped you. If so, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more tutorials in the future.